So last time we had read this paragraph, but while trying to cover it in detail, we had not been able to finish it. So does anybody remember clearly till where we had finished?
Yes,
Where?
the Gita does not deny the validity of even.
From where we have to do, na? There we have to do.
Yeah. But can I suggest if we just reread the
Yeah,
paragraph
yeah, 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 yeah.
so that some
So
connect is established?
correct. Uh, कौन पढ़ेगा? Anybody?
I can.
Go ahead.
In the first 6 chapters, the Gita lays a foundation for its synthesis of works and knowledge. Its synthesis of Sankhya, Yoga, and Vedanta. But first, it finds that karma, works, has a particular sense in the language of the Vedantins. It means the Vedic sacrifices and ceremonies, or at most that and the ordering of life according to Grihya Sutras, in which these rites are the most important part, the religious kernel of the life. By works, the Vedantins understood these religious works, the sacrificial system, the yajna, full of a careful order, vidhi, of exact and complicated rites, kriya vishesha bahulam. But in yoga, works had a much wider significance. The Gita insists on this wider significance. In our conception of spiritual activity, all works have to be included. Sarva karmani. At the same time, it does not, like Buddhism, reject the idea of sacrifice. It prefers to uplift and enlarge it. Yes, it says, in effect, not only is sacrifice, yajna, the most important part of life, but all works should be regarded as sacrifice, or yajna. Though by the ignorant, they are performed without the higher knowledge, and by the most ignorant, not in the true order. Avidhi purvakam. Sacrifice is the very condition of life. With sacrifice as their eternal companion, the father of creatures created the peoples. But the sacrifices of the Vedavadins are offerings of desire directed towards material rewards, desire eager for the result of works, desire looking to larger enjoyment in paradise as immortality and highest salvation. This the system of the Gita cannot admit, for that in its very inception starts with the renunciation of desire, with its rejection and destruction as the enemy of the soul. The Gita does not deny the validity even of the Vedic sacrificial works. It admits them. It admits that by these one may get enjoyment here and paradise beyond. It is I myself, says the divine teacher, who accept these sacrifices and to whom they are offered. I, who give these fruits in the form of the gods, since so men choose to approach me. But this is not the true road, nor is the enjoyment of paradise the liberation and fulfillment which man has to seek. It is the ignorant who worship the gods, not knowing whom they are worshipping ignorantly in these divine forms. For they are worshipping, though in ignorance, the One, the Lord, the only Deva, and it is He who accepts their offering. To that Lord must the sacrifice be offered, the true sacrifice of all the life's energies and activities, with devotion, without desire, for his sake and for the welfare of the peoples. It is because the Vedavada obscures this truth and with its tangle of ritual ties man down to the action of the three gunas that it has to be so severely censured and put roughly aside. But its central idea is not destroyed. Transfigured and uplifted, it is turned into the most important part of true spiritual experience and of the method of liberation.
Yeah. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Hmm. Yeah, basically, he's continuing the idea that in the uh, Vedavada, basically the Samhita portion of the Veda, following that, and so on, Yagya, Kriya, Vishesha, Bahulam, all these things. Basically, the idea of Yagya, how the Gita reconciles it. What about it criticizes that basically the yagyas and all were being done in the time of the Gita for the fulfillment of desires. First in this world, material world, and then in the worlds which are more subtle, uh, which है यहाँ पे referred है 2.42, 2.43, यामिमां पुष्पितां वाचम प्रवदन्त्य विपश्चितः वेदवादरताः पार्थ, etc. Um, yeah, the sacrifices of the Veda Vaidans are offerings of desire. We have covered this, so I will not go again. Larger enjoyment in paradise as immortality and highest salvation. Again, we had clarified to ourselves that immortality here, um, it's not real immortality because, as the Gita says in one of the later chapters, I think in the ninth, Shine Punye Martya Lokam Vishanti. So it's immortal, relatively speaking. You have a lifespan, a human being has a lifespan of 100 years, and the gods, the higher you go, basically, the lifespan is more, but it is still subject to death. When the pralaya happens, they are all absorbed back. Again, I mean, regarding pralaya, I had mentioned that Mother and Sri Aurobindo say that this is the seventh and final creation, and there will be no pralaya because the supramental principle, the true divine creative principle, is active, and pralaya will not be necessary. That is, I mean, just uh, I mean, something very important, but yeah, not the main point here. Larger enjoyment in paradise as immortality and highest salvation. Salvation meaning kind of, fulfillment. Uh, what basically saves you from material, uh, the trappings of the material world, that way, how you are, etc. But very clearly, we'll begin from here. This the system of the Gita cannot admit. What it cannot admit? That simply uh, doing yajna for the sake of fulfillment of desire, that is the aim of life. Following that, I had posted this thing, text on the group also, wherein the Kurus, basically, to which clan Arjuna belongs, they were of this type only. And most of the races of the Dwapara Yuga, not to single, pinpoint the Kurus, the Dwapara was the age of rituals and all this, and they were all pursuing it for getting Swarga, etc. Right? But this, the system of the Gita cannot admit. For that, in its very inception, starts with the renunciation of desire, with its rejection and destruction as the enemy of the soul. So 2.55. Kramasha, if we go, we had not necessarily covered each and every verse, but we had reached till 2.53, Shruti Vipratipannate, and then in 2.55, which is the last section of the second chapter, around 18 verses. So it begins like this: Prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnasta dochyate. Shri Krishna has asked, what are the signs of a man who is stable in his wisdom, steady in his wisdom? Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha. How does he speak? Samadhisthasya keshava sthitadhihi kim prabhasheta kimasita vrajeta kim. How does he speak? How does he move about? How does he sit, etc.? That Sri Aurobindo clarifies. It will come here in this book only, that the enlightenment cannot be known by external signs. These things are internal, and therefore Sri Krishna does not give any external signs. He does not tell how the man of wisdom walks or sits or eats or anything like this. He gives the inner signs. What are the inner signs? So that in that it first says Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani eva atmana tushtaha sthita prajna stada uchyate. One who has uh, Prajahati, sent away from him all desires. The blessed Lord said, when a man expels, O Partha, all desires from the mind and is satisfied in the self, by the self. In the self, by the self. Atmani, in the self. Atmana, in the self. Eva, alone. Atmani eva, atmana tushtaha. Satisfied in the self, by the self alone. Nothing else he needs. Tushtaha, satisfied. Sthita prajnastadochyate. Then he is called stable in intelligence. This is what is being referred to in this part here. With the starts with the renunciation of desire here. So, yeah, with its rejection and destruction as the enemy of the soul. This we find towards the end of the third chapter, wherein clearly he says, Vidhyenam iha vairinam. The word for enemy there, vairi. Okay, know this, vidhyenam iha. Iha means here in this world as the enemy. And last में जहि शत्रुम महाबाहो kamarupam durasada. You should slay this enemy. Jahi means to slay. Jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasada. This difficult enemy to conquer in the form of desire, you should slay. Important thing to understand is why is the Gita saying like this? What is the psychologically, what is the problem? Very, very simple. Again, not very difficult to understand. So long as we are moved by desire, there is something we want, anything, any position, any material object, any human being, anything like that. Then, so long as we are motivated by it, so long as we are under the wrong impression that our satisfaction or our happiness depends on getting such and such a thing, till such time, basically, we cannot be moved from the true source within us. Our buttons are basically being pressed from outside. Anything and everything can disturb our stability, can disturb our poise, etc. That's it. I mean, it's very easy for the poise to get disturbed if we are governed by that. That's self mastery. What does the Gita teach? From where should the action spring? From where should the whole existence of the soul spring? From the Swadharma, from within, from the Swabhava. What does Swabhava mean? Swa means self, Bhava means becoming. So, in whatever way the soul has developed itself over the course of its evolution, okay, and whatever it has become, that soul entity, that psychic entity, that should be the fountain of all action. It should spring from there. Whereas in the case of desire, what happens is that instead of functioning from within outward, Very simple psychological point, but just matlab important to understand. Instead of functioning from within outward, it becomes sort of from outward. External things are uh, um, moving us. They are controlling us. That is the basic psychological point, right? So the Gita very, very clearly, Vidhyenam ihavairinam jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Um, I may say here, just for the sake of the completeness of the thought or idea, Sri Aurobindo at one place he says, desire is the helper, desire is the bar. Okay? Why he says that there? Because if, you know, the gunas have to be crossed over gradually in the evolution. They have to be proceeded with. It's a process basically. You cannot jump from tamogun to gunatita. Okay? Predominantly rajasic, then predominantly sattvic, like that. So if somebody's rajoguna itself is not that developed, he's basically a inert person, a lazy person. If he's using, spirituality or these kind of ideas as an excuse, it happens quite often actually. You get to hear, अंगूर खट्टे हैं जिसको हिंदी में बोलते हैं. You did not have the strength to get the thing in the first place, and you said, no, no, I don't want it. You very much wanted it, but you don't have the strength to get it. Swami Vivekananda's life, there is an example. I mean, I've not read it. If I'll do, I'll share the exact text. But a young man, came to him, I want to renounce the world. And Swami Vivekananda said, go and earn 1 lakh rupees one, then you talk about renunciation, that sort of thing. So that desire is the helper, desire is the bar, applies to that stage of evolution, wherein basically the tamoguna is dominant and rajas and desire is necessary to bring you into activity, to, like that. Otherwise, I mean, we are talking about going to gunatita. The Gita, that is why it's a very high scripture. It's not for, normal guidance that way. वैसे करके. It tells you the highest. And the aim of the Gita is to place you in the consciousness of the Purushottama. Anybody who sincerely follows the teaching of the Gita, I mean, they will start experiencing that divine consciousness within themselves, and yeah, the bhakti will increase, all that. Right? Yeah. So, yeah. We've covered till here with its rejection and destruction as the enemy of the soul. Exact shlokas jo hai, many times I have shared them. I'll do it again at the end of the session. Now, the Gita does not deny the validity even of the Vedic sacrificial works. It admits them, it admits that by these means one may get enjoyment here and paradise beyond. It is I myself, says the divine teacher, who accepts these sacrifices and to whom they are offered. I who give these fruits in the form of the gods, since so men choose to approach me. 1 second. 7.22. I'm just. Uh, okay, 1 minute. Yeah, we'll come to this. The Gita does not deny the validity even of the Vedic sacrificial works. Yeah, I think he'll say, already he has said, कि unlike Buddhism, Buddhism denied it very vehemently. Yeah, पहले था. At the same time, like Buddhism, it does not reject the idea of the sacrifice. So the Gita does not deny the validity even of the Vedic sacrificial work. It admits them. पहले आया था सहयज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा पुरोवाच प्रजापति. It is, with sacrifice as his companion, that the father of creatures created these worlds, basically, created these peoples. It admits them, it admits that by these means one may get enjoyment here and paradise beyond. So, yeah, basically they are the cosmic functionaries. Indra, Varuna, Agni, all the Vedic godheads, all the even Vishnu is propitiated. Vishnu is basically cosmic consciousness, but mostly it is Agni and Indra in the Rig Veda Samhita. One may get enjoyment here. Yeah. Yeah.
अनमोल
How
भाई, ये लोअर
yeah,
गॉड्स भी आ सकते हैं ना यहाँ पर, जैसे यहाँ पर फॉर्म ऑफ गॉड्स, ऑल अदर गॉड्स इवन इन द current times, like would it be fair to say Ganesha and all that as well,
I
or
don't
no?
know. I don't know. He's talking about Vedic sacrificial works, and basically he's dealing with the uh, Vedic mantras.
Oh, okay, so all Vedic gods basically.
Yeah, yeah. It admits them. It admits that by these means one may get enjoyment here and paradise beyond. It is I myself, says the divine teacher, who accepts these sacrifices and to whom they are offered. Hmm. Because he is at the top of all the gods, na? He's at the head. This is the shloka here. Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasya radhanamihate labhate cha tatah kaman mayaiva vihitan hitan. He
Seven
endowed
point
with that faith worships that form, whichever god you are worshipping. You can enlarge it now to include other gods, like Dhavalbhai said, Ganesha also, which may not necessarily be covered in the Rig Veda Samhita. Okay? He endowed with that form, worships that form, and when by the force of that faith in his cult and worship, he gets his desires, it is I myself who in that form give these fruits. Uh, I mean, as it is known to most of us in the teaching of the Gita, it is the Shri Bhagavan or the Purushottama of whom everything else is a form, including the gods or human beings or any creature, etc. etc. Some of these great forms of him, he has told around 75 of them in the 10th chapter called Vibhuti Yoga. Himalaya is his form, Ganga is his form, etc. etc. In this case, all the gods are his forms. They are his forms, he's saying, right?
This is
Who
what
accept
7 point, what was it, 7.7?
7.22
22.
यहाँ पे है incarnate word में है. Who
Ah,
accepts
okay.
these sacrifices and to whom they are offered. I who give these fruits in the form of gods, since so men choose to approach me. Hmm? Yeah. Maya eva, by me. Maya means by me. Eva means alone. It is I myself who in that form give these fruits. Hmm? या इसके पहले वाला भी एक श्लोक है, यो यो याम याम. फॉर द सेक ऑफ कंप्लीटनेस आई विल कवर इट फॉर द दिस थिंग. यो यो याम याम तनुम भक्तः श्रद्धया अर्चितुम इच्छति तस्य तस्य अचलाम श्रद्धाम तामेव विदधाम्यहम. इंपॉर्टेंट श्लोक है एक्चुअली, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू
Hmm.
अंडरस्टैंड हाउ द डिवाइन वर्किंग टेक्स प्लेस इनसाइड द consciousness of the bhakta or the sadhak, right? So this is 721. Okay. Whatever form of me any devotee with faith desires to worship. ठीक है. दुर्गा है, गणेश है, शिव है, whatever form, कार्तिकेय है, anything. I make that faith of his mother and Sri Aurobindo. In that sense, if you want to see, though I mean those who read deeply and are able to, basically who are given their recognition by Sri Aurobindo and mother, who they are, it has to come from within. It should not be told by any human being to any human being that way. But you know, yeah, so that's also a form that way. So I make that faith of his firm and undeviating. Very, very important. यो यो याम याम तनुम भक्तः श्रद्धया अर्चितुम इच्छति. जिस भी रूप को, जिस भी तनु को आप श्रद्धा पूर्वक, श्रद्धया विच श्रद्धा, अर्चितुम इच्छति, आप उसकी अर्चना करना चाहते हैं, तस्य तस्य, उस तनु में, उस रूप में, अचलाम श्रद्धाम, आपकी श्रद्धा को अचल मैं कर देता हूं. कृष्णा इज सेइंग, श्री भगवान इज सेइंग, वट एवर फॉर्म ऑफ मी एनी डिवोटी विथ फेथ desires to worship, I make that faith of his firm and undeviating. This is precisely why anybody should not try to, suggest कि this is a greater god or a greater guru or this or that. This is an organic process. It should happen from within. The divine has been working for quite some time to build faith in that particular form. Now, if you in your enthusiasm try to, वो कभी कभी ये tendency होती है, तो that should never be done. And anyway, वो तो छोड़ो उस चीज को. It is basically the divine who does it. But still, whatever is saying here, who accept these sacrifice to whom they are offered, it is I who give these fruits in the form of gods, since so men choose to approach me. गोइंग वेरी स्लो हियर नेसेसरली, ये वाला जो पार्ट है, सिंस सो men choose to approach me, this is one of the most amazing things revealed in the Gita, that way. ये यथा माम प्रपद्यन्ते तांस तथैव भजाम्यहम, in whatsoever way men choose to worship me, so I accept them to my love. I think this is 411. हाँ, yes. ये यथा माम प्रपद्यन्ते तांस तथैव भजाम्यहम, मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्याः पार्थ सर्वशः. As men approach me, so I accept them to my love. Divine is very flexible. So he does not insist. You should approach me in this way or that way. मदर का एक राइटिंग है wherein he says, श्री अरबिंदो का भी है एक जगह पे, for the atheist he lies hidden inside his atheism, for the nihilist he hides in the bosom of annihilation. So in whatever way you will approach that reality, in that way that reality will accept you. If you, the atheist is nothing but God playing at hide and seek with himself. This comes in one aphorism of Sri Aurobindo, right? So that's the basic idea. जाकी रही भावना जैसी, हरि मूरत तिन देखी तैसी, ये रामचरितमानस में आता है. सेम आइडिया. इफ यू लाइक, अगेन मतलब एग्जैक्ट वर्ड्स मेरे माइंड नहीं आ रहे हैं, बट इफ यू इवन मतलब are looking upon the divine as your opponent, then that will be the way in which the divine will basically accept you. He will accept you as his. हाँ, I think यही text है. हाँ 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 हाँ, yes, yes. I'll just read this, धवल भाई ने डाला हुआ है. In reality, the divine gives to each individual exactly what he expects of him. If you believe that the divine is far away and cruel, he will be far away and cruel, because it will be necessary for your ultimate good that you feel the wrath of God. He will be Kali for the worshippers of Kali and beatitude for the Bhakta, and he will be the all knowledge of the seeker of knowledge, the transcendent impersonal of the illusionist. He will be atheist with the atheist and the love of the lover. He will be brotherly and close, a friend always faithful, always ready to succor for those who feel him as the inner guide of each movement at every moment. And if you believe, very important, and if you believe that he can wipe away everything, he will wipe away all your faults, all your errors, tirelessly. And at every moment, you can feel his infinite grace. The divine is indeed what you expect of him in your deepest aspiration. Yeah.
Anmol, so when we say these gods who worship the gods, so these gods are also created by the Purushottama?
They are projected by the Purushottama. You can say created also, projected also. See, fundamentally nothing is created, because जैसे वो physics में भी बोलते हैं, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change from one form to another. So similarly, nothing in the truest sense is ever created. It is that infinite energy which is given certain forms. You can say creation, the word karma, creation वगैरह वो ठीक है, but if you want to be absolutely precise, then the right word is becoming or projection. Becoming is okay. We can settle on becoming as the right word. It is the divine who becomes these gods. It is the divine who has become you and me. That way. Is it clear, Sarita?
Yes, because it's written, so men choose to approach me. So he's given that option to them, no? You can either go the
Yeah,
form of
because
the God,
see,
so
because
you can
everybody does not have the capacity to approach the divine straight away in his form as the Purushottama. He's from inwardly, he's not that mature. He has not, basically he's not matured inwardly enough. He needs some lower forms. Like, I mean, very simply, if you see, जैसे ग्राम देवता होते हैं या साउथ इंडिया में या कहीं पे भी, हाँ, small small devatas, and the people who worship them are basically at the lower strata of society, or मतलब not very high above the animalistic consciousness. Now, if you go and try to tell them the Gita or the idea of the Purushottama, do you think they are ready to accept it? Not at all. Or people who are totally अर्थार्थी, who are looking for, जैसे कुछ लोग यक्षों की पूजा करते हैं, they want wealth, that's it, and they are quite satisfied to go and worship some, Yaksha god for that. So, halanki, that is called Rajasic worship in chapter 17 of the Gita. But according to your, according to your inner development, according to your inner maturity, and basically according to your need, आपको किस चीज की जरूरत है? That's what the word the mother also used, na? कि he will, according to your need, the divine will answer your this thing.
There is a Anmol bhai, there is a very beautiful example which I've heard. I haven't even today some parts, I don't know which place exactly, but they offer alcohol to the Lord.
Yeah. Bhairav.
So this tells you about the consciousness of the people. The tamasic people will approach in the tamasic way. Rajasic will approach in a rajasic way. And gods are there at every level. It's just your maturity and you will find your God at your level.
Yeah. There is a shloka, since बार mention हो रहा है, 17th का I think 6th है. I'm just checking. 17th का नहीं, 6th नहीं है. It is 17th का 4th. यजन्ते सात्विका देवान यक्ष रक्षांसि राजसाः भूत प्रेत गणांश्चान्ये यजन्ते तामसा जनाः.
Oh, beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. The Gita is very, very complete as a scripture. उसमें बहुत सारी चीजें covered है. ये रहा. So
ये ना, ये ऑर्डर का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि जो श्री अरविंदो ने वीव किया है ना, ये not in the order of the Gita text, but in the order in which we are going.
Yeah. सात्विक men offer sacrifice to the gods. ठीक है. गॉड वर्ड का मतलब ही लाइट होता है. मतलब जो वर्ड देवा है संस्कृत में, सो द धातु दिव, दिवाकर बोलते हैं ना, इसीलिए सन को. दिवाकर मतलब क्या? लाइट करने वाला, लिटरली. दिव मतलब लाइट, कर मतलब करने वाला. सो दिवाकर लिटरली मीन्स द वन हु क्रिएट्स लाइट, राइट? सो देव मीन्स लाइट. एंड सत्व गुण प्रकाश. सत्व के साथ अगर आपको एक वर्ड याद रखना है, रिमेंबर प्रकाश. ओके. यथा सर्वद्वारेषु देहेस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानम यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धम सत्वमित्युत. When from all the doors of the body light is coming, and when there is an increase of knowledge, then you should know that there is the vriddhi of the sattva guna, like that. So sattvic men offer sacrifice to the god.
ये यजन्ते कौन सा श्लोक है? नंबर, which number, Anmol bhai? Can you please tell this number?
17:4.
17. Okay.
Sattvic men offer sacrifice to the gods, the rajasic to the yakshas, the keepers of wealth. ये जैसे राजस्थान में जो खाटू श्याम है, बहुत उनका वो डिवोशन वगैरह होता है. ठीक है, नथिंग रॉन्ग इन दैट, बट बेसिकली a यक्ष. Basically a yaksha.
Kuber is what?
Kuber is yaksha. Yaksha rakshansi rajasam. Among the 10th chapter में आता है कि among the yaksha and rakshasas I am Kuber. Kuber is that way the king of the yakshas.
So the people for the wealth, they pray to Ma Lakshmi ji and all.
Yeah, that is a deva. Lakshmi is not a yaksha. That is the difference. फिर वो wealth की quality ना, the quality of the consciousness and all, that will be वो थोड़ा difference होगा.
Then Lakshmi ji is not only wealth, she is also for harmony and love.
Yes, Lakshmi implies मतलब a kind of beauty, a kind of harmony, you know, all that. Light, basically. The word
Lakshmi actually means plethora of
opulence.
But anyway, it need not be wealth alone. It is wealth of knowledge, wealth of anything.
Yeah. Sattvic men offer sacrifice to the gods, the Rajasic to the Yakshas, the keepers of wealth and the Rakshasic forces. The others, Tamasic, offer their sacrifice to elemental powers and grosser spirits. Bhuta preta gananshanye yajante tamasa janaha. ये जो लोअर टाइप के जो तांत्रिक वगैरह होते हैं, दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग, या जो लोग ये शमशान वगैरह में बैठ के पूजा करते हैं, ये उसकी बात हो रही है, राइट?
अघोरीज.
हाँ. So yeah, but this is not the true road, nor is the enjoyment of paradise the liberation and fulfillment which man has to seek. Very, very clearly. Nor is the enjoyment of paradise the liberation and fulfillment which man has to seek. It can be very tempting also. You know, इस वर्ल्ड के enjoyments इतने अच्छे हैं, तो फिर उस वर्ल्ड के कैसे होंगे? But then there is no end to that. The desire is called in the Gita as dushpurena analena cha. It is a fire that can never be satisfied. तो आप सोचो कि आप आग में घी डालोगे और आग बुझ जाएगी, दैट्स लाइक स्टुपिडिटी. इट्स ओनली गोइंग टू इंक्रीज फर्दर. दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च. It is a fire which can never be fulfilled. Desire is basically hunger. So any hunger, if you satisfy it, do you think that once you satisfy it, it will be over? Never. It will again come back. It will again come back. It is never ending. So this is why this knowledge is necessary to, first of all, consciously increase the sattva guna, get into that knowledge mode, and then, once the sattva is relatively firmly established, to get into the divine consciousness, the gunatita, right? Without this knowledge, one will never actually come out of the trap of desire. It's not easy to come out of it also. One needs the grace of the divine. दैवी हेशा गुणमयी मम माया दुरत्या, he says, 7th chapter में. ये मेरी माया जो है, composed of the 3 gunas, it is दुरत्यया. इसको क्रॉस करना इजी नहीं है. मामे वये प्रपद्यन्ते मायाम एताम तरन्तिते. Those who प्रपद्यते means worship me, only they are able to cross beyond. वो तो गीता की अल्टीमेट टीचिंग है ही कि to take complete and absolute refuge in the Purushottama, right? But this is not the true road, nor is the enjoyment of paradise the liberation and fulfillment which man has to seek. It is the ignorant who worship the gods, not knowing whom they are worshipping ignorantly in these divine forms. For they are worshipping, though in ignorance, the One, the Lord, the only Deva, and it is He who accepts their offering. इसके लिए later on in the 9th chapter there is a shloka, वो अविधि पूर्वकम उसी में आता है कि you are doing it indirectly, you are not doing it directly, he says. Yeah, यजन्त्य विधि पूर्वकम 23 9th का. I'll just show it on the screen. These can be noted down बाद में, after the class and all, one can study these shlokas independently. Yeah. येऽप्यन्य देवता भक्ता यजन्ते श्रद्धयान्विताः तेपि मामेव कौन्तेय यजन्ति अविधिपूर्वकम, he says. Yeah. Translation: even those who sacrifice to other godheads with devotion and faith, they also sacrifice to me, O son of Kunti, though not according to the true law. Yeah. And next one, why not according to the true law? Because they're not approaching him directly. They are coming to him via an intermediary. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhurev cha natumam abhijananti tatvenatash চ্यवन्तिते, etc. It is I myself who am the enjoyer and the lord of all sacrifices, but they do not know me in the true principles, and hence they fall. Basically, that perfect stability by any evolving soul cannot be achieved without growing, what should I say, without a growing stability, if you want to say, in the divine consciousness. जब तक वो डिवाइन कॉन्शियसनेस के अंदर एंट्री नहीं होगी, दैट्स व्हाई श्री अरबिंदो इतना अच्छे से समझाते हैं. फ्रॉम द आउटर यू गो इनटू द इनर कॉन्शियसनेस and you build like a fortress around you, and you function from within, and then you make that effort to go deeper and deeper, increase your bhakti, karma yoga ki spirit mein kaam karo, etc., etc. That is how gradually one starts living in the protection of the divine, constant protection of the divine. Yeah. It is the ignorant who worship the gods, not knowing whom they are worshipping ignorantly in these divine forms. We get confused also. So many divine forms. And then we think that they are different. They are not different. But that knowledge, ठीक है, सुन लेना एक बात है कि ये सब एक ही भगवान के अलग अलग रूप हैं, but actually to arrive at that knowledge. Yeah. For they are worshipping, though in ignorance, the one. इसको the one को तदेकम वेद में बोलते हैं. That one, tadekam. For they are worshipping, though in ignorance, the one, the Lord, the only Deva, the only Deva. And it is He who accepts their offering. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhurev cha. मैं ही सारे यज्ञों का भोक्ता हूँ, सर्व यज्ञानम.
This is from which chapter?
924. Okay. 924, the previous one which I showed, was, I think, the verse before this one, 923. 923 and 924. ये यहाँ URL में दिखता है, ये यहाँ पे ना, दिस वे यू कैन सी फ्रॉम हियर, या यहाँ भी दिखता है चैप्टर 9 वर्स 1.
नहीं, वो ना आपके स्क्रीनशॉट से नहीं दिख, मतलब हमको नहीं
ओ
दिखाई देता
ओ
बाद में।
ओ
वो आप अभी दिखता है क्योंकि आपने टॉप में
okay
लेके स्क्रॉल
okay
करके।
got it. The one, the Lord, the only Deva, and it is he who accepts their offering. To that Lord must the sacrifice be offered. Now, this is how it is reconciling the idea of yajna or sacrifice with the idea of the Purushottama. Okay? To that Lord must the sacrifice be offered. Not to lower gods to win enjoyments in this world and enjoyments outside this world. No. To that Lord must the sacrifice be offered. Yat karoshi, yat juhoshi. Juhoshi जो है, that juhoshi means sacrifice. यत् करोषि यदश्नासि यत् जुहोषि ददासि यत् यत् तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम्. He says this in the 9th chapter only. Yeah, 927. One second. 927. Yat karoshi, whatever you do. Yad ashnasi, whatever you enjoy. Whatever thou doest, whatever thou enjoyest, whatever thou sacrificest, whatever thou givest, dadasi.
तो
Whatever
जही भी यही हुआ ना अनमोल भाई, जही भी सेम रूट होगा जुहो और जही का?
नहीं, अलग है.
अलग है।
Jahi means to slay, Johoti means to sacrifice.
ओह ओके।
प्रॉब्ली रिलेटेड होगा बिकॉज वो यज्ञ में स्ले करके डालते थे, सैक्रिफाइस करते थे. इन दैट सेंस इट माइट बी रिलेटेड. बट जुहोती कम्स इन द 4th चैप्टर ऑल्सो. 4.24 से लेके 4.33 तक बार बार आता है. दैट बेसिकली मीन्स द सैक्रिफिशियल एक्शन, ऑफरिंग इन द यज्ञ. दैट इज वॉट द वर्ब जुहोती मीन्स. वेयर जही मीन्स टू स्ले, काटना. मया हतान त्वम जही 11th चैप्टर में आता है कि by me they are already killed. Tvam jahi, you slay them. They are already killed by me, all these warriors on the other side. Maya hatan, but tvam jahi, you slay them. Okay. Whatever thou givest, whatever energy of tapasya, of the soul's will or effort thou puttest forth, make it an offering unto me. This is one of the most important, and मतलब ये श्लोक तो याद होना चाहिए जो गीता का अध्ययन करते हैं. Absolutely necessary. यद करोषि यदश्नासी यद जुहोषि. याद करना भी बहुत आसान है. ददासी यत, बार बार यत 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 आता है उसमें. यद करोषि यदश्नासी यद जुहोषि ददासी यत यत तपस्यसि कौन्तेय तत्कुरुष्व मदर्पणम्. तपस्या कैसे की जाती है? 3 टाइप की तपस्या क्या होती है? दैट इज टोल्ड इन द 17th चैप्टर. हाउ यू डू द तपस थ्रू द mind. What is the tapasya of the mind? What is the tapasya of the vak? What is the tapasya of the body? All that is there. 17th chapter में. ठीक है? तो yeah. So to that Lord must the sacrifice be offered. The true sacrifice of all the life's energies and activities. All. सर्व कर्माणि. जैसे हमने लास्ट टाइम में मेंशन किया था, या लास्ट टू लास्ट टाइम, कि नॉट टू थिंक that certain actions are, they are too low for me, or they are below my dignity. Nothing like that. Or sarva karmani. 3.26 में आता है ना वो. सक्ताः कर्मण्य विद्वांसो यथा कुर्वन्ति भारत कुर्यात् विद्वांस तथा सक्तः चिकीर्षुः लोक संग्रहम् न बुद्धि भेदम जनयेत अजनानाम कर्म संगिनाम जोशयेत सर्व कर्माणि विद्वान युक्तः समाचरन्. The vidwan, the enlightened one, the knowledgeable one, should engage other people in all actions, and he himself should set the example by himself doing all the actions. Okay? To that Lord must sacrifice be offered, true sacrifice of all the life's energies and activities. Yeah. All life is yoga. All the life's energies and activities. कैसे? With devotion. Bhaktya. It's very important. पत्रम पुष्पम फलम तोयम यो मे भक्त्या
प्रयच्छति तदहं भक्ति उपर्तम अस्नामि प्रयतात्मनः.
करेक्ट. बट भक्त्या, with devotion. गीता के टीचिंग में इसकी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंस है. भक्ति, भाव समन्विता, full of bhava, that loving adoration towards the divine, without desire, not wanting anything in return. This is not easy to do actually. Well, it's not easy to be free of desire completely. One can become free of it only through the intensity of one's effort, sincerity, through a certain evolution, divine grace. Otherwise, आसान नहीं हो सकता. With devotion, without desire, for his sake and for the welfare of the peoples. For his sake. ये बार बार ये refrain इसमें आएगा इस book में कि everything should be done for the sake of the divine. Whatever you are doing, even this right now we are studying, it should be done for the sake of the divine within us, the divine in the universe, and the divine who transcends everything. For his sake. तदर्थम 3.9 में था ना, तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय. तदर्थम माने उसके लिए, for his sake.
Which shloka?
3.9. यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोन यत्र लोकोयम कर्म बंधनः तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्त संगः समाचर. रिमेंबर, कर्म बंधन से मुक्त नहीं हो सकते जब तक कि you don't start offering all your actions to the divine. तदर्थम कर्म कौन्तेय, for sacrifice practice works. यहाँ पे तत् का मतलब sacrifice दिया है, but basically sacrifice किसके लिए? To the divine, right? And for the welfare of the peoples. इसके लिए गीता में श्लोक है सर्वभूत हिते रतः. आई थिंक 2 बार आता है इसमें. या एक तो
ये चैप्टर 12 में आता है.
चैप्टर 12 में भी आता है, चैप्टर 3 में भी आता है, दोनों जगह आता है. चैप्टर 12 में तो आता ही है, यू आर राइट. या बट बेसिकली आई मीन
I think 4th
Well,
verse, chapter 12, 12.4.
हाँ, we'll just open it and see. Okay. 12th का 4 था. हाँ, सन्नियम्यन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूत हिते रताः. सर्वभूत हिते रताः. रताः माने एंगेज्ड, उसमें संलिप्त है. ठीक है. फॉर द गुड ऑफ ऑल एग्जिस्टेंसेस. एक जगह इसके पहले भी है, 3rd में कहीं पे है, अभी मिल नहीं रहा है. Doesn't matter. There is no difference in the idea. The idea is just this, engaged in the good of all existences. Yeah. Sarvabhuta hiterata. It is because the Vedavada obscures this truth. कौन सा truth? That the aim of life is not just enjoyment here or enjoyment in paradise. That is not the liberation and fulfillment you are supposed to seek. The liberation and fulfillment that you are supposed to seek is the dwelling of your consciousness in the Lord, the Purushottam. It is because the Vedavada obscures this truth. वो आपको रजोगुण में फंसा के रखता है. It is because the Vedavada obscures this truth and with its tangle of ritual ties man down to the action of the 3 gunas that it has to be so severely censured and put roughly aside. It's very severe actually. This flowery word of the Veda. जब आप उसको सुनते हो तो आप एकदम अरे ये क्या बोल रहे हैं. Yeah. But its central idea is not destroyed. What is the central idea? Sacrifice, yajna. Its central idea is not destroyed, transfigured and uplifted. It is turned into a most important part of the true spiritual experience and of the method of liberation. Yeah. By making basically all life and energies a surrender or sacrifice to the Supreme. You are doing it for His sake. consecrate जो word होता है ना, synonym for sacrifice, the word, if you see the literal meaning of consecrate is to make sacred. Sacrifice का भी meaning वही है actually, कि when, how you remain profane otherwise, ठीक है, you remain ordinary, but when by that act of karma yoga, by that act of offering one's actions to the divine, उस act के द्वारा वो connect बनता है, that yoga happens, and then you also start becoming sacred. Sacrifice, consecration, इनका मतलब ही होता है literally to make sacred, right? So, but its central idea is not destroyed, transfigured and uplifted. ट्रांसफिगर कर दिया सडनली उसको. You are taken to the gunatita condition when you offer it. You're no longer in the gunas then. But for that way, the remembrance of the divine is necessary and uplifted. It is turned into a most important part of the true spiritual experience and of the method of liberation. So by offering the karma itself to the divine, that karma itself becomes a means of liberation from the karma. This is the great secret of karma yoga revealed most clearly amongst all scriptures in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah.
I have a question.
Hmm.
Like I have now learned to offer. Ever since read the Bhagavad Gita, I've learned to offer everything to Krishna, and with the aim that one builds up a completely surrender and consecrate. But what about the karmas that we have done before coming into this path?
Yeah. They will be burnt away.
There will
As your offering increases and intensifies, और जो योगाग्नि है ना, वो योगाग्नि सारे पिछले कर्मों को भी भस्म कर देती है. Basically, the fire of yoga that burns away the karmas. जो आप अभी ऑफर कर रही हैं अपने कर्मों को, वो ठीक है, दे आर नॉट गोइंग टू अफेक्ट यू एनी मोर, ठीक है, बट एज दैट intensifies, as that becomes more and more perfect, that yogagni will start becoming more and more प्रज्वलित. वो कन्फ्लैग्रेशन बन जाएगी, वो दावानल बन जाएगी, और वो पूरे आपका जो संचित कर्म बोलते हैं उसको भी भस्म कर देगी. दैट इज द promise of yoga, that is the process of yoga.
Yeah, because वो लिंगाष्टकम में आता है संचित कर्म विनाशन लिंगम. हाँ, सारे
वो उसको भस्म कर देगी. यथैधांसि समिद्धोग्निः भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन, ज्ञानाग्नि सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा. Just as the fire burns fuel to ashes, the fire of knowledge burns all karma to ashes. Sarva karmani, jnanagni sarva karmani, भस्मसात कुरुते तथा. ये ज्ञानाग्नि ही तो है, ऐसे ऑन द गीता, और क्या है. एसेंशियली अगर आप देखो ज्ञान क्या है, कि आई एम एन इटर्नल पोर्शन ऑफ द इटर्नल. ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातन. All these other identities, I am an Indian, I am a woman, I am a Hindu, I am a Banya, I am a this, that, जो कुछ भी है, I am a corporate person, I am a mother, father, जो कुछ भी है, all this is secondary. Primary identity क्या है? I am an eternal portion of the eternal. This is knowledge. अगर आप इसके अंदर फिक्स हो गए, what karma man? What karma? You become free. तो इस चीज को और फीड करना by constant remembrance. Remembrance is one of the ways, but it needs the support of other yogas. Nama japa, puja, dhyana, karma yoga, doing your work, yoga karmasu kaushalam. आदित्य जी ने मेंशन किया था एक सेशन में. So all this, adds up. All this adds up and it becomes more and more intense. And यथैधांसि समिद्धोग्निः भस्मसात् कुरुते अर्जुन, ज्ञानाग्नि सर्व कर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा. रिमेंबर दिस श्लोका. अगर आपको अपने कर्मों को भस्म करने का वो रहता है ना, जस्ट इसको याद रखिए. श्लोक
चैप्टर में है,
फोर्थ में है सरिता,
437
33 के आसपास है. हाँ, 37. थैंक यू. 437. हाँ, वर्थ मेमोराइजिंग. अगेन वन ऑफ दो श्लोकास विच इज रियली वर्थ मेमोराइजिंग. एक है 927. 927 तो मतलब बार बार मुझे ऐसे रिपीट नहीं करना चाहिए. आई शुड नॉट insult the intelligence of the members of this group, but very important. Yat karoshi, yadashnasi, yat juhoshi, dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpana.
And you said 427.
437.
After 37.
Yeah. So it's 9 o'clock. क्या करें?
We'll
It
stop,
started at
Anmol bhai.
8:05.
It's
We'll
better.
stop.
We have a logic
Better,
correct,
huh?
huh?
Better to stop. Huh? Better to stop. We have 2 more paragraphs to do. Hopefully, in 2 sessions we can complete. Not wise to start a fresh paragraph today. Anybody has any questions? We can discuss for 2-3 minutes. Otherwise, we'll close.
So I was reading somewhere that after the Mahabharat was over and all the Pandavas decided to walk up, and one of the brothers kept falling, and then finally only Yudhishthir reaches heaven. And when he reaches heaven, he's astonished to see Duryodhan sitting in heaven. And he
Because he
looked,
attained Veer Gati. If you die fighting on the battlefield, you attain Veer Gati and you attain Swarga. Hatova prapsyasi Swargam, jitva va bhokshase mahim. So what happened to Duryodhan was that Hatova prapsyasi Swargam. Because he
and
was
then
killed fighting whatever for him that was dharma. Obviously, it was not dharma. But yeah, it's because of Veer Gati.
and he's looking for his brothers, and he gets to know that they are in hell. So
That
I
I
was
don't believe. That I
yeah,
don't
I
believe.
also cannot believe when Arjun is himself being chosen by Krishna and given the knowledge of the Gita, it's not possible that that can be happening to
No,
him.
they were all gods. Initially, I mean, Arjuna was basically Indra, Bhima was Vayu, Nakul Sahadev were the 2 Ashwins. Draupadi ka, some people say she was a partial incarnation of Kali. So, I mean, they were all gods
Yeah,
and goddesses. Yeah. So, yeah.
but it makes sense to me also.
ये
Anmol bhai, like
हाँ
this story of the later Mahabharat, where the Pandavas are heading to the heaven, I always keep on wondering that exactly what Sarita ma'am said, that a person like Arjun who has seen the Virat Roop, taken all the knowledge of Gita, why would he then go to the heaven? Yeah, he has already attained the Purushottama. What is heaven for him?
yeah. नहीं, whether हाँ मतलब he was given a glimpse of that.
Yeah, it's paradoxal. Like, why would a man of his stature crave for the pleasures of heaven now?
They all हाँ they
सही
also
सही है, कुछ सवाल सही है, लॉजिकल है.
हाँ इसमें मतलब yeah, see, because Arjuna later on forgets also गीता
Okay.
का जो teaching है. Again, I don't know. To me also it doesn't make sense. Arjuna, he was also उस हिसाब से बोलते हैं तो he was Nara Rishi also in a previous birth.
Yes.
Oh, really?
Nar and Narayan, Arjun, Krishna.
Narayan was Krishna, Arjuna was Nara.
Yeah, and Arjun is now going for Swarga. It like perplexes me so much.
These things, they are, I mean, if I get more clarity on this, I'll share, but yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Sure.
Called Yug Purush also. So,
He's the main protagonist in the Mahabharata. Arjuna is the main protagonist, actually,
yeah, so he.
not even Krishna. Probably, what is meant is कि he was a portion of Indra. तो इंद्र जो है वो जो 11 levels हैं तैत्तिरीय में, Indra is the level of Swarga only.
Okay.
And though he was given the glimpse of the Virat Rupa, ठीक है, but I mean, I don't know, unless you practice that yoga, constantly and all, because later on उसी में तो आता है कि he forgets. There is a text called Anugita, wherein Krishna has
Okay.
this half a verse, हाँ, परम ही ब्रह्म कथितम योग युक्तेन तन्मया, भगवत गीता के बारे में, कि it was spoken by
आपने
me
डाला
in a
था,
state
आपने
of
डाला था ग्रुप पे.
डाला था, है ना? So if he has forgotten, what does that mean? Now, if he is a realized person, if he has become the Brahman, if he has attained the Brahman, etc., then he will never forget that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it could be, for the purpose to get the thing done through him, to kill all the adharmic Kshatriyas,
वही
he was
लगता
given,
है.
he was
What
given that spiritual discourse and everything,
discourse.
but perhaps he did not attain. एंड वो जिस लेवल से आया था, इंद्र के लेवल से आया था, एंड ही रीच द सेम लेवल, विच इज ऑल्सो नॉट वेरी लो बाय द वे। इंद्र के बाद केवल 3 और लेवल हैं फिर। आफ्टर इंद्रा देर इज बृहस्पति, देन देर इज प्रजापति, एंड देन देर इज द ब्रह्मन इट सेल्फ। सो इट इज नॉट टू फार बिलो द ब्रह्मन लेवल। उसके बाद से जितने बर्थ हुए होंगे, मे बी इन दैट सम, इन वन ऑफ दोज बर्थ्स ही हैज अटेन्ड,
Event,
वी डोंट
yes.
नो फॉर श्योर।
We don't know.
I just heard, since it's being mentioned, I may say here, ये जो क्रिया योगा वाला लाइनेज है, परमहंस योगानंद वाला, उसके
And
अंदर ये काफी प्रचलित है कि योगानंदा इज अ रीइंकार्नेशन ऑफ अर्जुन। वो बोलते हैं, दे से
oh,
इट क्वाइट ओपनली। या आप
Really?
किसी भी क्रिया
Interesting.
योगा वाले से पूछोगे, वो बोल देंगे अर्जुन तो योगानंद थे।
Oh, interesting.
And Yogananda obviously attained. In this
हाँ,
life as a yogi, he attained, and even when after he left his body, you just go on Google or YouTube and search. उनकी body भी intact थी. It was a very great living.
it's
हाँ?
like Sri Aurobindo's 5 days it did not decay.
Yeah, something like that. Something like
And more, can I add something?
that. Yes, sir,
And
please.
Sri Aurobindo has written about Mahabharata, and you know about it.
Sri Aurobindo
That
has written about?
Mahabharata also,
Yes, he has.
and he has commented on certain portions. The total number of shlokas in Mahabharata are supposed to be 1 lakh, and Sri Aurobindo's conclusion is that 30,000 were original, and the rest were in 2 phases because their language, syntax, grammar, interpretations, some of them were interpolations. Sri Aurobindo has not completed that part, but that is indication that even the stories which are being narrated in
Yes. Actually, 30,000 भी नहीं है, 8,800 is the number actually. That is the original epic. उसको जया बोलते हैं. And around that original 8,800 verses, accretions and additions and interpolations, वो करा करके 1 लाख हो गया है। तो a lot of things, इस तरह की जो बातें आती हैं, some of that, it may be the
one has to interpret and absorb it very carefully
absolutely,
and with lot of reverence, even if it is interpolation, let us say 3,000
yes,
years back.
absolutely. There is no doubt about it.
There is
Reverence का तो कोई question ही नहीं है कि
interpolation does not mean falsehood as it exists today.
exactly. Also,
Interpolation maybe because it's a side one view, or like Yudhishthir's approach to the heaven. First, he was shown the hell, not because of because for the only sin which was so-called sin he committed was telling a lie about the Ashwatthama, and that had brought him that you first has to see the hell for a few minutes, then only you can go to heaven. So this is also, see, one can refer to many parts of, like you said, Arjun forgot about it, and actually, if you look at this, Gita has been, the same spirit has been displayed in what Sri Krishna has told Arjun. After the war, he has told them more or less the same thing to Yudhishthir. And the third thing is before his departure back, Sri Krishna gives the same praise to Uddhava. That is called Uddhav Gita. Read all the three. They're simultaneous, one after another. Conclusions are more or less the same. Yes, Arjun said, Arjun wala bhi aata hai. Arjun said, I have forgotten. Then he said, you are a foolish person. He has used this, of course, not an abusive way, but he has used a very strong words for his forgetfulness. And he himself says, मैंने उस consciousness में कहा था, मैं वो दोबारा नहीं repeat कर सकता. So these are the things.
इसमें certain symbolic चीजें भी होती हैं, जैसे
yes, it is symbolic because
युधिष्ठिर का फॉर एग्जांपल बोलते हैं कि सदेह स्वर्ग जाना, एंड ही हैज अ डॉग एज हिज कंपेनियन. तो बेसिकली some people interpret it as the transformation of the human and including the animal part of the human consciousness, कि वो स्वदेह मतलब it is total transformation of that, the mental consciousness in you which is represented by the human being, as well as the animal consciousness in you which is represented by the dog. If it is able to reach that divine world in its own body, that means basically it has been transformed. So some people interpret it like this. In fact, they say that is what the word Jaya means. The word Jaya, victory, it means the total transformation of whatever is there on this plane, mental, vital, physical, whatever is there, into its divine equivalent. That is what they mean. वो बोलते हैं कि जया वर्ड का मीनिंग ही यही है.
Scriptures, we have to take it with lot of reverence.
Yeah.
And not reading like a novel.
Even last चीज वो जो अश्वत्थामा वाला आपने रेफर किया, so
Yes.
they say कि his ratha came down. ठीक है. Now at least मतलब I have not heard this from anybody. मेरे को खुद को जो उसमें समझ में आया था कि when they say that his ratha touched the ground, what it actually probably means is it is referring to the Upanishad shloka. Atmanam rathinam vidhi shariram rathamevatu buddhim tu saratham vidhi manah pragrahamevacha. It is the body which is the ratha. And when you are a Satya Pratigya and you are only speaking the truth, then you live in your subtle body. You don't live in your gross body. आपकी consciousness एक higher plane में रहती है. But when you lie, then like a thud, you fall back into your gross body and sort of आपका जो रथ है, आपकी जो body है, वो जमीन को touch कर रही है. You understand? If you are constantly in a meditative state by the power of truth speaking and the power of dharma, etc., then your feet will not touch the ground. You will be living in your subtle body. You will not be living, your sense will not be that your feet are on the ground. It's a very, जो भी लोग meditate वगैरह लंबे घंटे करते हैं उन्हें पता होगा, they feel as if their feet are not touching the ground. ठीक है. But वो feet ground को कब touch किए उसके? When did that ratha touch the ground? When he made a lie. तो वो एकदम से because of that lie, this is my interpretation. वो बोलते हैं महाभारत के बारे में कि certain shlokas are interpreted only by the devas, certain are interpreted only by this category of people. They are very good हैं उसमें. महाभारत के beginning में एक श्लोक आता है. Anyway, I was just sharing that. ठीक है. Shall we close with silence?
Yes.
Okay.
I had a question.
Please go ahead.
See, you told that Arjun was Nar and Krishna was Narayan. As per the epic, उन दोनों ने साथ में ही तपस्या की थी. उसके बाद ऐसे कैसे कि कृष्ण ब्रह्मन के लेवल तक पहुंच गए एंड अर्जुन इज स्टिल बाउंडेड टू द प्लैनेट की जन्म के बाद जन्म ले रहे हैं.
Doing the
And even
tapasya,
forgot.
doing the tapasya together does not mean that you have reached the fruits of tapasya together.
But
It does
इतना
not
स्टार्क डिफरेंस.
Sorry?
बट इतना स्टार्क डिफरेंस कि ब्रह्मन का लेवल एंड इंद्र के बेटे का लेवल में तो एटलीस्ट बहुत ज्यादा लेवल का डिफरेंस है.
That is correct. That is correct. But I mean वही है कि ये थोड़ा सा डिफिकल्ट है समझाना.
एंड द फैक्ट कि इवन ही फॉरगेट्स.
मैं कोशिश कर सकता हूँ. हम क्लास में साथ में पढ़ते हैं. एक फेल होता है, एक उत्तीर्ण होता है.
हाँ, वही चीज है, बस वही चीज.
बट ही
और
फॉरगेट्स आल्सो. जो फेल करेगा, जो सक्सीड करेगा, वो याद तो रखेगा.
उसमें भी एक्चुअली स्पीकिंग द सोल विच वाज देयर एम्बॉडीड इन द ऋषि नर. ठीक है. लाइक आई मीन आई डोंट वांट टू कंफ्यूज एनीबॉडी. जैसे बट विवेकानंद है, स्वामी विवेकानंद, क्लियरली उनकी बुक्स में लिखा हुआ है वहां पे कि रामकृष्णा सॉ दैट ही वाज ऋषि नर. क्लियरली लिखा हुआ है कि ही वाज ऋषि नर एंड ही हैड रीइंकार्नेटेड. अर्जुन का श्री कृष्ण के साथ जो भी दिखाते हैं, इट मे बी सिंबॉलिक, माने कि अर्जुना इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग द ह्यूमन सोल दैट वे द नर एंड कृष्णा इज रिप्रेजेंटिंग द नारायण. एग्जैक्टली इफ द सोल वाज द सेम और नॉट, ये ट्रेडिशन कहता है. मतलब थोड़ा डाउट है इस बारे में. मुझे तो एटलीस्ट डाउट है कि 100% वेदर द सोल्स आर एग्जैक्टली, कि जो ऋषि नारायण थे दैट वाज कृष्णा सोल एंड जो ऋषि नर थे दैट वाज अर्जुना सोल. आई मीन आई एम नॉट एंटायरली श्योर. बट एनीवे द क्वेश्चन इज, अगर साथ में तपस्या करिए, एक हायर लेवल पे कौन पहुंचा और एक लोअर लेवल पे रहा, उसका सिंपल जो धवल भाई ने बोला कि बोथ आर इन द सेम दिस थिंग, बट हु इज हैविंग मोर सिंसियरिटी, who is having more this thing, tapobal, etc. It depends on that. There are like, मतलब यहाँ पे आश्रम है या इतने आश्रम हैं. श्री अरविंदो के टाइम पे भी all the sadhaks, they were being given meditation by the mother or darshan by the mother. Did they all reach the same level? Certainly not. Nalanikanta Gupta reached the over mental level. I mean, other than him, I have not heard of anybody. People might have. But it depends on your own sincerity basically. Yoga is a very personal thing. Anyway, Shall we close?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'll stop the recording.